We're going to have the word cringed. Say cringed. That's on page 19 when we read it. We'll probably go and highlight it if you have a paper copy. It's a word that means made a face that showed a feeling of embarrassment or disgust. So sometimes when you're feeling embarrassed, you cringe, you kind of make like a face that shows that you're feeling embarrassed or you are disgusted by that action. Rendition, say rendition. Page 16, that is a performance or version of something. So say I had my own favorite song and I wanted to do my own take on it. That would be me doing a rendition of something, of a performance that I am doing. So like say I love the movie Sound of Music. That's a really old movie. I might do my own rendition and perform it. Third word, sauntered. Say sauntered. That's on page 18, meaning walked in a slow or relaxed way. So when you saunter in, that's what you're walking, and you're doing it in a slow, relaxed way. You kind of look cool. You're sauntering into a place. Sophisticated is your fourth word. Sophisticated is on page 17. Having a lot of knowledge about the world, seeming grown up or glamorous. And the fifth word is surpassed. Page 17, went beyond or did better than. So for instance, when we do our iReady assessment next week, I might say you surpassed your beginning where you started, because you guys are going to go way beyond what you accomplished in the fall. I see a lot of friends toggling to other screens, going out of where we were. If you already had the story open, I don't want you to change where you're at, because I can't go through how to open that again. Please stay on your story if you already have it open. I'm going to check the chat box really quick. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and read it. I'm going to show it on the presentation view, and we are going to look at where our vocabulary words are. We're going to see what the story is all about. I apologize if you can't see all the words on my screen. Either you have it open in front of you or you have your paper copy, and I would like you to follow along with me. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit to my story. It's getting opened. And I'm going to close out of all these other tabs just in case it's slowing my computer down. Okay. I've zoomed in a little bit. We have this character. She's standing in front of a bunch of lights and cameras. Right off the bat, what do you guys think we're reading about today? This girl is standing in front of these lights, cameras. Owen, what do you think, bud?
A popular or famous girl.
A popular or famous girl. What do you guys, anybody else have another opinion? I think that is a good thought that you have. Eliza, what do you think?
I think we're gonna be reading about never mind, I forgot.
You forgot? Olive.
Maybe because of the title, a girl who gets famous for not being able to dance.
Okay, I like it. So I like that you thought about the title and you looked at the picture. All right, so we're going to be thinking a lot about character as we read this story and in the activities that we do this week for it. We're not going to spend all week on this story. We're going to read it today, tomorrow, and Thursday. We're going to do something else on Friday. So you have some questions to answer about the story today, some questions tomorrow, and we're going to take the quick quiz on Thursday and move on to something else on Friday. So we have this story, Girl Can't Dance. Emma dreams of being famous. What will she give up to make her dream come true? So this story is by Lisa Yee and art by Dave Clegg. At first sight, I guarantee you'd want my autograph. Well, maybe not now, but there was a time not so long ago when that was true. It's not that I'm crazy beautiful or talented or tremendously smart. In fact, I'm pretty ordinary, which was why what happened was extraordinary. My twin brother, Theo, said that I should thank him. For what? I asked. For making my life miserable? You made your own life miserable, he said. I just happened to be there. Maybe I should start at the beginning. So pause there. Why did our author start the story this way? At first sight of me, I guarantee you'd want my autograph. Why do you think the author started our story that way? We're thinking of author's craft, doing something to kind of draw you in a creative way. Why do you think the author chose to have that as their first line or basically first paragraph? Eliza.
To get us more interested in the story.
To get us more interested in the story. I'm thinking, oh, do I really want this girl's autograph? I can't really picture why I'd want her autograph if she's not talented, smart, or beautiful, but maybe this story will get me to figure out why I want this girl's autograph. All right, I'm going to turn the page. I am on page 16. Okay. My best friend Aubrey and I were obsessed with celebrities. You know, boy bands, movie stars, anyone on that TV show, immediate access. Plus, we'd spend hours watching YouTube, especially videos starring my favorite singer, Jackson Jax. How many of you probably spend hours watching YouTube or being obsessed with certain things? It doesn't have to be a celebrity, but you might have some kind of internet obsession. It doesn't have to be a celebrity, right? Though, but it could be. When I was your age, I was obsessed with boy bands like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and I would have probably listened to them on YouTube if that was a thing, but it wasn't. So trying to kind of relate to you guys in this story, that's what the author is kind of doing by creating that person. One time, Aubrey's mom took us to his concert, and I swear, even though I was one of 15,000 screaming girls, Jackson Jax pointed to me and said in his signature whisper, "Girl, this song is for you." So a couple months ago, Aubrey and I were watching videos when she asked, "Emma, what's the most important thing to you?" "Fame," I said. "What about you?" "Friends," she replied. "If you ever got famous, you'd still be my friend, right?" Aubrey and I had been friends since first grade. "Of course," I answered, and I'd also go on the Gary Larry show and ride in a limo. As it would turn out, I would soon do 2 out of 3 of those things. So we can already see that there's a little bit of a difference between our two characters. One says that the most important thing in their life is fame. That's Emma. The other one says friends is her more important thing. So I wonder what kind of person you might think of. I mean, you might be, would you rather be more famous or would you rather have friends? I'd like you to just kind of think about that to yourself. As it would turn out, I would soon do 2 out of those 3 things. It started with a karaoke machine my Uncle Roger gave me for my 13th birthday. For the longest time, it stayed in the box, and for good reason. My singing is so bad that when it's someone's birthday, it's best for everyone if I just mouth the words. One Saturday night, Aubrey and I opened the box. Karaoke, Theo exclaimed as he barged into my room. Can I try? Go away, I said. Please, he begged. Go away, I shouted. You'll be sorry, he warned. I started belting out Jackson Jack's mega hit, Girl, It's Gotta Be You, then began to dance. I looked like a cat trying to cough up a hairball. Aubrey laughed so hard she couldn't even breathe. Emma, she cried, please promise me you won't ever do that in public. Oh, right, I said, like that would ever happen. So this is underlined. I looked like a cat trying to cough up a hairball. What do you guys think that the author means by that? She's not literally a cat trying to cough up a hairball. What does that mean? What does the author mean by that sentence? Owen?
And that she looked really bad or not so good.
Yeah, she looks really bad. She's doing it kind of awkwardly. Maybe making some really weird movements. So yeah, that is an example of figurative language. If you can think back to when we do Fridays, figurative Fridays, that sentence would be an example of that, either a simile or a metaphor. And in this case, this is a simile because it says like. All right. On Monday, Theo was eager to get to school. That should have been a clue that my world was about to turn inside out. I have PE first period. Being as uncoordinated as I am, I hate PE. And I think it's fair to say that PE hates me. We were lining up to play basketball when suddenly a bunch of boys started singing a horrible rendition of Girl, It's Gotta Be You. I'm going to highlight our word rendition because that is our vocabulary word when we do a performance of something. Everyone was laughing, including me, but when they started dancing, I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. The boys were imitating me. But why? How? Hey, Emma, Julian said as he dribbled the basketball. You're a star. All through middle school, I had hoped that Julian would notice me. I had even practiced talking to him in front of the mirror. Oh, hello, Julian, I'd say in a sophisticated voice. Julian was waiting for me to speak. What? I stammered. Saw your video on YouTube, he said, grinning. You know, girl can't dance. Julian pretended to spit up a hairball. Things only got worse after that. It seemed like the entire school had seen my girl can't dance video. And then I knew. Theo, it had to be Theo. When I spotted him at lunchtime, he started running. He was fast, but I was faster. You creep, I yelled. You're going to pay for this. Just then, I noticed Serena Malik and a bunch of popular kids laughing. A couple of them did the hairball dance move, while one sang horribly off key on purpose. I let go of Theo's shirt and ran to the bathroom to hide. Mom and Dad grounded Theo and took away his computer privileges for a month, but it was too late. Girl Can't Dance had received more than 500,000 hits, and we had only 600 students at our middle school. Even after Theo took the video off of his YouTube account, it kept showing up on other people's. Then the strangest thing happened. Some kids started being nice to me. And one day, someone I didn't even know was wearing a Girl Can't Dance t-shirt with my photo on it. My video had gone viral. You're a celebrity, Aubrey gushed. Emma, you're famous. Yeah, I admitted, but I'm famous because I can't sing or dance, because I humiliated myself. This is not how I imagined it. Enjoy the ride, Aubrey said. Everyone knows who you are. It seemed like she was right. The day Girl Can't Dance surpassed 1 million views, Aubrey and I jumped up and down and hugged each other. By the time it hit 14 million views, I was on Wake Up AM and even immediate access. When I got the call to be on the Gary Larry show, the producer said they'd send a limo for me. As the studio audience looked on, Gary Larry asked, Emma, how many people have seen your video? And I'm on the next page. Well, Gary, I said, turning to wink at the camera. I stopped keeping track when it passed 20 million. Gary Larry grinned. Emma, we have a surprise for you. The curtains parted out and out came Jackson Jax. He sauntered up to the microphone. Everyone stared straight at me and whispered, Girl, will you join me? The crowd went wild as Jackson Jax sang, Girl, it's gotta be you. And I did my famous moves from Girl Can't Dance. I was a star. Everywhere I went, people asked for my autograph. Total strangers would do my dance when they saw me. Everyone wanted my photo. I started wearing sunglasses to hide from my fans. Hey, Emma, a boy said at lunch. He held out a piece of paper. Can you sign this for my cousin? I took off my sunglasses and asked, Do I know you? It's me, Julian, he answered. We have PE together. I let out a sigh and then scrawled a giant E on the paper. Thanks, Emma, he said. You're amazing. Whatever, I said. You've changed, Aubrey commented as she bit into her cheese pizza. I looked at my fingernails. Maybe I'd try deep purple polish next. How so? I threw my head back and smiled as someone took my picture. Well, you're sort of, and don't take this the wrong way, but you're kind of stuck up, Aubrey said softly. I put my sunglasses back on. Aubrey just didn't get me. You're jealous, I told her. Maybe I need a new best friend, someone who can deal with all of this. Maybe you're right, Aubrey said, her voice cracking. I thought she might be crying, but it was hard to tell since my sunglasses made the whole room so dark. Theo walked past us and muttered, I've created a monster. I stopped eating lunch with Aubrey and started sitting with Serena Malik in the popular group. A couple weeks earlier, they had made fun of me. Now they wanted to hear about Jackson Jackson, the limo, and Gary Larry. After a while, though, I learned that you can tell the same stories only so many times before people get bored. My YouTube hits began to dwindle to only a few thousand a day, then a few hundred, then a couple, until it seemed like no one was watching my video anymore. The new top trending video was called Betty and Herman. It was of a dog and a duck who had become best friends. Your 15 minutes of fame are up, Theo said one night. I was sitting alone in my room watching Girl Can't Dance on YouTube. I looked like an idiot, a happy, clueless idiot. Huh? Andy Warhol said that everyone will be famous for 15 minutes, Theo explained as he stood between me and the computer. Who's Andy Warhol? I asked. Does he do karaoke? He's an artist, my brother told me. You're hopeless. As quickly as I had become a celebrity, I had turned back into a pumpkin with no friends. Hey, Julian, I said. He was at his locker. Did your cousin like the autograph? He looked like he didn't know who I was. It's me, Emma, I said. You know, Girl Can't Dance. I did a couple of hairball moves. When he cringed, so did I. Even though I still sat with the popular kids, I was pretty much ignored. After several days of this, I picked up my tray and walked to where Aubrey was eating with a bunch of kids from our English class. Hey, I said, motioning to an empty chair. Mind if I join you? When Aubrey shrugged, I sat down. No one said a word. It was beyond awkward. After 10 minutes of silence, I got up and left. As I ate alone, I thought about how I wasn't famous for something I could do. I was famous for something I couldn't do, sing or dance. I was famous for not being talented. If that was my 15 minutes of fame, I had wasted it. It took 3 minutes for me to do Girl Can't Dance, 16 minutes for Theo to upload it to YouTube, and 14 million views to make me a star. And what did that all add up to? I lost the one friend who really counted. I owed Aubrey an apology, maybe even 14 million apologies. Fame wasn't important to me anymore. Friends were. I tossed my sunglasses into the trash and then headed back to Aubrey. I had something to tell her. Okay, so that is the end of our story. Kind of a silly little one, but maybe one that you can kind of relate to. If you go to your Google Classroom, it says week 8, Tuesday, January 19 for classwork. You have a new assignment that says fiction elements. And I click on my copy that I have. We're going to go through and answer some of these questions today, and you're going to have both today and tomorrow to work on it. So I would like you to really take your time on this since you have 2 days to work on it. You have 5 slides and some questions to answer, and they're all about the fictional elements that we are looking at in the story. Okay? So if we could all get this open, we're going to go through some of the questions today, and I will help us answer some of them. Like I said, we're going to have it for both today and tomorrow. I see that Eliza's got it open in her Google Classroom. Hank's getting it open. Mason has got it open. Nuchen. Olive. Awesome. A lot of us are getting it open. Liam is getting it open, I think. Owen's got it open. Taya and William. Sorry, guys. Okie doke. So if we are looking, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on mine so that you can see my screen a little bit better. And we're thinking about fiction. It was a fiction story. It's not true. And writing about the basic elements of a story can help us better understand and remember it. Using this organizer to help you fill in any fiction story from Storyworks. Well, today we are filling in about Girl Can't Dance. So the title of our text, got double click there, we would type in Girl Can't Dance. And the author of the story will go on the next line. Please make sure you have both. Don't just skip that area. It's asking for both author and title. So it doesn't ask about the illustrator. We don't need to include that. Lisa Yee is our author. Girl Can't Dance, Lisa Yee. If I scroll down, the main character's name is, well, what is our character's name? Who is our main character? Owen.
Emma.
Emma. That doesn't need to be a complete sentence. You can just fill in Emma. All right, guys, how would we describe the main character? How would you describe the main character? This can be listed, but I want you to have multiple words. I don't want you to just put one word down. Olive, what is one word you could use to describe our main character?
Is this before she becomes famous or after?
It can be all of it.
Okay.
It can be any part.
Kind.
Kind. All right, what's another way you can describe our main character? How is she acting in the story? Come on, guys. Kira, thank you.
Stuck up.
Stuck up. How else would you describe her? I want your help. I don't want to fill in the whole thing for you. I want you to help me. Eliza.
She was like full of herself.
Full of herself. How else would we describe her? Owen.
Famous.
Famous at one point. Would you call her obsessed? Obsessed with fame. I would describe her as that. She's obsessed with fame, almost to the point where she doesn't really care about anything else. Anything else you can? How does she act at the end of the story? How would you describe her character at the end after she's no longer famous and nobody really cares anymore about the video? How would you describe her, Olive?
Mature.
Mature. How else would you describe her at the end of the story? Kira.
Guilty.
Guilty at the end of the story. And Owen?
Regretful.
Regretful. I like that. William?
Apologetic.
Apologetic. I would even say she's lonely at the end of the story because she has no friends, right? Everybody's kind of forgotten about her. People are kind of like, you know, thinking about other things already. So I might even say at the beginning, she's kind. Middle of the story, it's funny how this ended up middle. And then at the end, she's mature because she's like, oh, she's realizing what she did wrong. So she's thinking, oh, that wasn't a good thing that I did. She's guilty. She's regretful. She's apologetic. She's lonely. You could even break up what we've all typed up. So it says beginning, middle, and end. I think she's definitely changing throughout the story. Kind, I could even say she's friendly at the beginning. Before she is found out online, like before she embraces that, she's embarrassed in gym class. And then in the middle, she's all stuck up, full of herself, famous, obsessed with fame. And at the end, she's mature, guilty, regretful, apologetic, lonely. All right, and you're going to choose one of those ways that describe her and tell me an example that shows what the main character is like. So I could say, when I'm talking about her obsessed with fame, Emma is obsessed with fame when she starts hanging out with other students at school instead of her best friend, Aubrey. You do not have to do my example, but that would be an example that from the text that shows what the main character is like. You could even say the same example for when she's stuck up or full of herself. Emma is obsessed with fame basically so much when she starts hanging out with other students at school instead of her best friend, Aubrey. She abandons her best friend. That is not somebody who's a good friend. Give me a thumbs up when you are ready to move on from the first slide to the next slide. Thumbs up when you are done with the first slide. Thanks, Scotty and Nu Chen. Thanks, Owen. Hey, Mason, you are working way ahead. Everybody should really still be on the first slide because I want your answers to be basically as well thought out as what I've put on the example slide. All right. If you need to go back and see what my first slide looks like, you can go and rewatch our video that I will post so that you can pause it and look. Slide 2. All right, this story takes place in, well, where does it happen? Where are the places that this story is taking place? Olive.
Her room.
Her room.
One place.
Where else is it happening? Owen.
School.
And then I could probably add one more place. Taya?
Maybe like a lunchroom or something.
Well, I'm going to count that as school. I was thinking even the TV show where they're at. I could put that as like the third kind of thing. That TV show, that Gary Larry show. I'm just going to say TV show because that's where our Jackson Jack's character shows up and they sing together and she does her dance in front of the audience. That would be one of the places. When do you guys think this story is happening? When do you guys think this story is happening?
Overnight.
Overnight, yeah, but I'm thinking more like general. Like, is this happening like 100 years ago? No, I think it's more like present day, right? Like 2020, 2021. Like I said, when I was obsessed with the boy bands that I was obsessed with, we did not have YouTube at the time. So I couldn't just look up the thing. So it wouldn't be when I grew up, it would be present day. Do you guys think that the setting affects what happens in the story? Being not just the place that it takes place in, but the time period. Olive?
I think yes, because without like YouTube or social media, she wouldn't have became famous.
That is a perfect example. Thank you, Olive. I'm literally going to type your answer into my box. Yes, the story is affected by the setting because without YouTube and social media, the character Emma would not have become famous. That would not have happened if they did not have the current setting of the times that we're living in. Give me a thumbs up when you're done with slide 2. Again, I want you to be on the same slide as me because I want your answers to be detailed like mine. Thank you, William. Thanks, Liam and Kira. All right, just one more moment if you don't have it typed. Thanks, Kira. All right, I'm going to move on to slide 3. Remember, I will be posting this so you can see it once I post it. Slide 3, I'm going to let you guys do it at the end independently. I'm just going to be explaining to you what you're going to be doing. You're doing plot, which means you're talking about beginning, middle, end. Overview, the beginning. Think of that from the time that her and Aubrey are sitting in her room talking to about the time that she's in gym class and she starts getting made fun of. That's about where the beginning ends. The middle of the story, I would say, is from when her video goes viral on YouTube. How would you describe the middle of the story? The end of the story is basically from the bottom of page 18. After a while, though, I learned that that you can tell the same stories only so many times before people get bored. People are starting to get bored of her video. People stop watching it. That is the end of the story. What is happening at the end, okay? That is your plot. This is kind of where your independent time, I'd like you to focus today on. I'd like you to be very descriptive on your beginning, middle, and end. I would like to see 1 or 2 sentences for each block. 1 or 2 sentences for each block on slide 3, and I will put that in the directions. Slide 4, you can get started on, but remember, I'm giving you tomorrow to work on slide 4 and slide 5, okay, where you're going to be talking about author's craft and more about the plot of the story, okay? Do you guys have any questions about what you guys are going to be doing today for your independent work?